take to have some peace and quiet on the trenches, mate.
It's got the future visiting us over there. All right. Welcome to the trenches, all right? Bathroom's over there, shower's right over there, and the kitchen is, I think it was over here. Yeah, it's not much to look at. But I said, the Western Front over here is no place for anybody without a spine, mates. And us Aussies have the strongest spines of all breeds of man. All right, so ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to World War One. So, first casualty of the war. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stone to Steel, where I'll take you through all of human history from beginning up until present times. And today, we fast forward since last installment, visiting the Anglo-Boer War, all the way to the Great War. In other words, World War One. So, in order to understand an event, and all these strange sights that you're seeing right in front of you here, we need to look at the background to understand where we are today. And I say that every single minute, every single moment of all of history, even the Hadean Eon, when Earth was in a molten lava form, and that is where the planet was forged out of the early solar system. Even the Great War has ancestry in such history. So I really argue that you need to understand all of history in order to understand fully the events now and in the past. However, of course, we can't really go that far back, else I would give you an hour's worth of background. And that's why I hope that some of you, since you remember the earliest shows back to the Stone Age and all the eras we've witnessed, have all led up to today, the Great War. So, to be a bit more recent, what started the Great War and how did it begin? Well, we've got to look at the early events. I've already see hands up over there. I like the guts. All right, fine. Yes?
There's lots of different things. There's increasing its invasion, scramble for colonies, and then it all culminates within the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Very good. I think actually you guys, would you like to stand here and teach the people how it started? All right. Well done, guys. Well done. So yes, that's actually quite true. So I'll get to that right now. So to understand World War I, you first look at the late 19th century. In other words, the 1800s. Sorry, you mind if we close that door there? I'm a soldier. Could you close the door there? Just unlatch it over there. Close in there, nice. That's a good Aussie over there. Welcome. Have a seat, my friends. Where was I before the Huns attacked over there? Oh yes. So to understand the Great War, we look at the century before, the 1800s. The 1800s, many argue, was the height of imperialism. So something about human nature, we all, as we've seen in many previous shows, is that humans have a tendency to want to show off and be the best and the most greatest amongst its neighbors. World War I is no exception. And we look at all of the, also going back to the first days of exploration, where Christopher Columbus opened the New World to Europe. World War I also has origins over there because, as we know, this was the birth of something that the world has never seen before, global empires. Ever since Columbus explored and founded the Americas, nation after nation would go and try and claim land in the unknown world to build its empire. And so, after surviving the tumult of the 1500s, the 16 and 1700s, a few empires survived all of that, all the events of prior centuries. And so, of course, come to the 1800s, a few names of a few empires stood strong. The British Empire, the French Empire, and the newly founded German Empire. And so, of course, the 1800s was amongst the height of imperial powers. And so, well, all these powers wanted to show off and who was the best, and of course often had a conflict of interests. That's one very core reason for the events of World War I. Another important reason is the alliances of the time. So during World War I, there were a few alliances. Some of you might know. On the one side was the Triple Entente, and the other side was the Central Powers, who fought each other during the Great War. And so, of course, these alliances was a big factor that caused the war. If you look back earlier, remember the Prussian performance with the wonderful conductor, yes? He witnessed the unification of Germany. Germany was now a new empire. And so, of course, feeling threatened by its new powerful neighbor, France decided to create an alliance with Russia to keep Germany in check. And of course, France was also allied with Britain, so together they formed the Triple Entente. And so, going on the other side now, Germany feels like, well, now it is threatened by being surrounded by enemies. So they decided to unite with their neighbor Austria-Hungary, and the other neighbor, the Ottoman Empire. And so, of course, with common enemies, these three superpowers united to create the Central Powers, being central in Europe. And so, of course, the world was one step closer to being poised to the greatest war it had ever seen. And so, of course, another event is, well, it's a little bit complicated, so get your ears ready. So what also led up to World War I was Austria-Hungary didn't like Serbia. They really didn't like that little nation called Serbia. So Serbia decided to get rid of them and assassinate their archduke. And so, of course, the Austro-Hungarians decided to attack war and declare war on Serbia. And, of course, this sparked a war because Serbia was, of course, allied with Russia. So this pulled Russia into the war. And, of course, Germany was allied with Austria-Hungary. So Austria-Hungary decided to ally with Germany to create the Central Powers and, of course, go to war with their Schlieffen Plan, which is a plan that they had already drawn up before to invade France just in case such an event happens. And so, of course, then Britain was now pulled into the war on the side of France. And of course, the Ottoman Empire, being enemies with Russia, was also pulled into the war because Russia was at war. Russia was allied with Serbia, which was at war with Austria-Hungary and Germany. So hence, World War I began, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's complicated. Let me catch my breath, all right?
Can you repeat that?
One repeat, all right. Austria-Hungary was very angry at Serbia.
I was joking, stop!
I hope you heard the first time, mate. I hope you heard right. So yes, in a nutshell, yes. The little country called Serbia, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which is an empire that had been around for about 100 years, really didn't like Serbia because they believed Serbia was, in territory that they should own. So of course the Serbians hated the Austro-Hungarians for this. And of course, the Austro-Hungarian Empire's emperor was Franz Ferdinand. And so a certain radical of a group called the Black Hand, which was a radicalist group in Serbia who wanted nationalism, decided to assassinate Archduke at the town of Sarajevo in 1914 in August. And so, of course, this led to, like I say, all the alliances being formed and interchanged and everything, and knotted up in who's where and what is where. Well, so began the First World War. It all began, oh sorry, did I say August? I meant to say June. June 28th was when World War I began. And, people at the time didn't know what an enormous war lay ahead of them. Most of the spirits was the cry of fervor and nationalism. Volunteers in the droves would come and fight for their nations. But as the war dragged on, it would prove to last another 4 years. And after 4 years, most of Europe, and of course the rest of the world, was fed up of this world war. And so it ended, but I shall tell you more about the end at the end. So ladies and gentlemen, that was a brief little background about how World War I started. So please, welcome to Stone to Steam and enjoy the show. Got a bit of trench foot over there, mates. Anyway, where was I? Just wait for the Germans to start shelling us now. Oh, right there. Alright mate, so my name is Gary and I'm an Australian officer in the Imperial Australian Army, mates. And I was called up to arms a little while back over there now. The year's now 1917, but I remember joining back in 1914. Some of you wondering about us Australians in World War I. And many of you think about, what do you guys think about when you hear Australia?
Chads on the beach. Chads.
I don't even never heard of that. But I like it, yes?
Were there flags in time?
Were there what? Flags in what? Oh, back in time, of course. The Australian flag was actually the British flag juxtaposed on the Southern Cross to represent Australia. Any other thoughts come to mind when you hear Australia, yes?
Kangaroos.
That's it, kangaroos, of course. Yes.
Prison colony.
Prison colony, yeah. My great-great-great-grandfather was actually a prisoner from London, I said. And of course, all of my ancestors are dirty scum, which is why we suit the Western Front jolly lovely. Yes, over there?
Koalas.
Koalas. Yes. And over there?
The second version of the sun.
Second version of the sun.
Yes, because of how hot it is.
Because of how hot it is, I know. Did you know that Australia only became a federal nation 13 years before World War I in 1901? That's when the army was formed. And of course, before that, Australia used to be, of course, a British subject, because it was back when Captain James Cook discovered Australia for the British, all right? And they decided, well, why say, where do we put all of the scum and all of the prisoners from Britain? Well, why not chuck them all in the land down under? And so my ancestors, that's who they were shipped down to the land down under, to Australia. That's where Australia gets its name. Australis means south. That's why the aurora borealis is the auroras of the north. The aurora australis is the auroras of the south. And of course our wonderful flag is a British flag because of our allegiance to the British Empire. But juxtaposed onto the Southern Cross as a little reminder that we're in the south and nobody in the north can see the Southern Cross when they look up at the night sky, which makes me very proud. So of course, Australia was called to arms when Britain declared war on Germany. It all started when Germany invaded Belgium. So of course they started the war, and we could not, well, rest and sit down while our glorious motherland, Britain, just declared war, and its very lives are at threat. And so, of course, all of us Australians decided to do our duty and fight for the motherland, for Britain, as you can see over there. So, of course, the call to arms was met, and us Australians, well, we fought in the most harrowing battle where we received our baptism of fire. The Battle of Gallipoli. We fought the Ottomans in 1915. Many of our men went in droves in the trenches on the south of Gallipoli, trying to climb up the hills to take it from Ottoman control. It was the British Empire's attempt at ending the war early to knock out the Ottoman Empire. But of course, this didn't work, and Gallipoli was a tragic failure for us Australians. The Australian and New Zealand Army Corps was founded, the Anzacs, and they were the ones who fought on the hills. I fought on the hills, mates. And I tell you, Gallipoli is nothing you would want to see in your lifetime. I remember soldiers more commonly die of disease than at the mercy of the Ottomans. So bad was the dysentery and the diarrhea that we called it the Gallipoli Gallop. And I got in my own self a case of Gallipoli Gallop back in 1915. 1916, us Aussies were shipped over to the Western Front. And we were to prove and earn our rights as great fighters amongst the Allies. We fought alongside the British, the French, and of course, 1917, the Americans are now starting to arrive. It's looking very grim, mighty, mighty grim for the Germans now. The Americans, hopefully, will change the tide of the war. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of talking. I thought that now's time for a little game, all right? So, boys and girls, before we play our little game, you need to know a little something about World War I, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the spirit over there.
Jawohl.
So, World War I was a battle of the wits. Each nation had to try and outwit each other to try break the deadlock on the Western Front. You see, ever since 1914, each side had dug in trenches, neither able to outflank the other. And so, the Western Front was born, and the deadlock ensued. 1915, unable to break. 1916, unable to break. 1917, we face another in our third year of the trenches. So, each side tried to create and invent a new type of machine or tactic to try and break the deadlock in the trenches. So I thought, over here, I would let you be my little inventors, yes? Alright? So, before we start, I've got a few little props over here that I want to show you guys, and you'll see why right now. Right, first prop, this one. As you can see, all these glorious flags, that just shows how World War I was really a world war. How did this get over here? Never mind. Anyway, so, in my hand, I have a British World War I officer's hat over here. So what we're going to do is my volunteers, you're all going to be my countries, all right? You're each going to represent a country, all right? And so, little Tykes over there, what we're going to do is each person will have their own country to represent, all right? So, first up, who wants to be Great Britain, all right? Let's see. I saw you first over there. Come stand up over here. All right, Britain, I chose you, yes, one of the glasses. You don't want to be Britain anymore. All right, you be Britain. All right, volunteers, just stand a little bit back, all right? All right. Jolly. Good stuff. Right, so next on the list, of course, British Empire was the great power of the Allies, powerhousing the cause against the Germans, all right? So you're going to represent Great Britain, all right, mates? Next up, volunteers, just stand a little bit back, all right, so people can see. Thank you. Next up on the list is the this is not the Germans. This is the Germans over here. So of course, Germany was the great opposing force of Britain. Kaiser Wilhelm was the Emperor of Germany, and he hated the British. Some argue that it was actually because of a doctor deforming his hand, a British doctor, of course. So, who wants to be the Germans? Let's see over here. I will choose you over there.
Yes.
Where's the music gone? Oh, that's better. So you as Germany will wear the good old-fashioned Pickelhaube. Right, stand to this side since you're the bad guys. I mean the central powers, don't worry. In World War I, they removed the spike often because it was cumbersome, yes? And they would even introduce cloth covers for the Pickelhaube. Just another fact over there, mate. So, next on the list. Who wants to be France? France, right over here. Right. So enthusiastic, mate. France was great ally of the Britain, and Britain was helping defend France's land. So right over here, I have a French cappy, which the French wore in 1959. Right, who wants to be French? Come on. Vive la France. So you stand with your allies over there. Right, volunteers, just stand a bit back, thank you. All right. Yes. So next up on the list is Austro-Hungary. So of course, Austro-Hungary was a great ally to Germany. They were almost identical in culture and language. So of course they fought alongside the Germans over here. Right, Austro-Hungary, right, you there. Come stand by the Allies. Right, Allies, I need a nice line to my side over here. And Central Powers over here. Nice line over there. So I want you guys by my side over here and a line to my side like that. Central Powers over there, Allied Powers over there. Alright, come on Allied Powers, Britain in front. That's it. Alright, so next up on the list. Where did I put it over there? The next Allied power is none other than the United States of America. Only joining the war in 1917, the Americans were joined late because they decided to keep at a war with the Europeans and not let them meddle with their affairs. However, with the democracies of Europe threatened by the Germans, the Americans felt they had no choice but to aid their fellow democratic nations over there. So, who wants to be United States? Alright, you over there, come on up. I need you to line up behind your allies over there. Alright, last but not least, on the Central Powers, we have the Ottoman Empire. Having a long history, almost even longer than Britain's history. They, of course, were at this time a much weaker nation. But however, the Ottomans packed a formidable punch, especially at Gallipoli, alright? So, who wants to be the Ottomans? Alright, you over there, come on up. Grab your fez, you wear it like that, and stand next to your pattern. Don't worry, just let it happen. I'll help you, right, I'll help you. Right, so countries, I need you all to stand by my side over there. Allies, by my side over here in front of me like this. Come on, shark bait, I'm not going to bite you there. Right. So, the game we're going to play now is called Breaking the Deadlock on the Western Front. In that box over there, I have tools of war that you all get, each of you get half of, and you're going to use your half to create an invention that will win you guys the war, right? So, Allies, Central Powers, I've got the big old box of magic, alright? So, stay on your sides, I shall fetch the box.
What is it?
Alright, now, let's get started. In this box over here, I have weapons of war, of which each of you will get half. So, Bridget, I need you to choose one item from the box over there. One item. Hold on, you'll get your turn next, France. Back in line. Hurry up, we haven't got all day, mate. Alright, first item. Alright, next up. First Central Powers, choose your item. France, take your turn. Good, alright. Stand by your side. Germany next. Alright, good. Alright, next ally, pick your item. Right. Next one. 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Good. Right, good.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Just grab anything. Good. 5, 4. Good. And I like Powers. Choose your next thing. All right. 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both of your teams, just grab whatever you want now. Grab the rest of the stuff over there.
Why are we using flowers?
Right, grab things.
Guys, this could really kill someone. Guys, put everything down.
Alright, so, Allies and Central Powers, before we start, you each get another bonus item. So, Allies, you get this box to decorate, alright?
Yay!
Your job is to make that box into a terrifying machine that will win you the war, right? Allies, I will give you your thing to decorate.
Oh, no, you're joking! No, how is that going to... Oh my goodness! No, do we have to... No! Do we have to...
You don't have to use it, but I recommend it, mate.
Wait, I have to kill someone.
Alright, teams, you have 5 minutes. I'll be timing you, alright? Your 5 minutes begins now. While they get sorted out all their machines of war, I thought I'd tell you a few World War I facts, alright? Oh, thank you. You know what? It's too noisy. I'll tell the facts afterwards. Go ahead, make noise. Go make your machine. Come on. What break? It's already broken, mate.
That's gonna help him. She needs grenades. Oh, I know.
We're not gonna stop pollution early.
I have an idea. Let's stick them in her hand. We have a baby's grenade. Guys, there's gonna be texture. Guys, there's gonna be a snap his
Allies and Central Powers, don't forget to give your machine a name, alright?
Becky!
Yes, your machine of war a name, alright? Good. There'll be a prize for the best name as well as the most fearsome machine, alright?
I don't think that's feasible. It's really attached. Can I see how the machine is? No, you're the only one.
Right, keep on inventing, my inventors. The Western Front is at stake and each of your nation's pride is at stake.
2 minutes remaining.
How long?
2 minutes.
Wait,
Alright, 2 minutes remaining, soldiers.
That was good.
I mean countries, you're all countries.
Jessica, your head goes through. And then she can hold the pill middle out of her side. Maybe we can capture people.
Thanks for the napkin, mate. I'm gonna have it back now.
No! It's got carrot jobs in other countries! It's got its boogers on them! It got the virus of the other countries! That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Even though you're
It's my kangaroo, alright? They're too smart. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. And stop inventing sides, your time is up. Now, each team is going to pitch their invention to me, and I shall critique it, alright? And also the audience, I want you guys to critique the inventions as well. Give it a rating, alright? See how nice it is and how you liked it. So,
Can I stop?
the Central Powers, because you started the war, you shall present first.
Okay,
So,
so-
who's going to present? Just finding your music, hold on, lad.
This is Becky, right? And Becky holds lots of different like daggers and swords. She's got like a sword sticking out from her, and she can just like ram into people and words of poison flowers that she just when she rams into people, like they get stabbed.
And also, the flowers are poison ivy, so when you give up, don't step on those by the way, those are minefields.
You could have told me earlier, mate.
We did! We did! Anyway, the flowers are poison, so when the flowers get in contact, it feels like people are tearing your skin off slowly, or it's melting away and being eaten. So she strangles people just by the slightest touch.
Yeah,
And she lost her arms, and that's why she's down on the side. So that's why you're using your lolly, by the way. Becky is very kind. She's thirsty. She has a pet bear named Boo. These hands can float, strangle. These things she has a pet horse. These things can levitate.
Alright, show me how it levitates. Oh wow, the knives are levitating, mate. What an interesting weapon. Is that it? Are you done then?
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from the Central Powers and their invention called Becky. Give them a round of applause, mate. Alright, now it's time for the Allies to present their invention. So, let's take a look.
Hi guys.
So, what's the invention over here, mate?
So this is ready. The rose blood sucker.
Oh, I see.
Very dangerous. Kind of like a rabbit. She suck your blood. She kick you. And one punch you dead. One punch you dead.
Alright, and what's this over here now? I'll tell the audience you're presenting to everyone, mate. Yes, so what's this over? Oh. Looks very fearsome. Yes, really good. And what's this over? Killing machine. Come on.
Thank you.
Alright, good. The attack of the bunnies over here, I see. And anything else about the machine? I see.
It'll bite.
We should try rolling the machine towards you, right? Roll it towards you.
Yeah.
Anything else that it does? What else does the machine do?
She attacks her. That's her.
Boom, attack, very nice.
And the dangerous. This is over.
Oh my! It attacked me with the helmet over there. I don't feel safe now. I don't feel safe now. And last question, Allies, what do you call this death machine over here?
Red blood sucker.
Tell it to the audience.
The red blood sucker. The deathifier.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard the red bloodsucker, the deathifier from the Allies. Give them a round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give the inventions one more round of applause. I don't feel safe with this thing around over here.
Get up.
Very terrifying. So volunteers, go take your seats. I'll need you for one more thing after this, alright? So, well, I'm surrounded by beautiful inventions now. Just life in the trenches, you know. Oh, terrifying. Go have a seat now, my volunteers. Thank you. Interesting. So, of course, as we know, World War I was fought with machines of war. But it turned out that at the end of the day, the Allies had the greater machine. The Allies introduced their things called tanks, and the tanks would break holes in the Germans' lines. And so, of course, this would help win the Allies their victory. The Germans decided to go with human machines called stormtroopers, and these highly decorated and elite soldiers would go and charge the enemy in the front line and try and break holes in the trenches. This would, of course, prove effective in Operation Michael near the end of the war. But nothing, not even a stormtrooper could stand up to the mighty, fearsome tank. Soldiers that then didn't even know what it was called, so they called it a thingamajig. Yes, very new stuff in war. So, our last thing before we end off is another beautiful factor about the war. Something, sometimes in history, so rarely, is something produced that lasts the ages. Something that outstands all the death and the harrowing situation in the warfare of the trenches. Something that survived was the diaries and the poetry of the soldiers. So right over here, I have inside my box a diary and a poetry from some of the soldiers who fought in the Western Front. And if you would like to, I shall read you just something to just get a little glimpse is what life was like inside the trenches. All right, so this book in my hands is called Great Diaries from all of history over here. And of course, the foreword was by 𝐇𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐨𝐫𝐲 and it's one of my favorite books. Inside is a collection of diaries from all the ages. But for today, we shall go to the Great War. All right. Over here, you have a certain war poet called 𝐿. He was a British officer in the trenches. And right over here, I have some incredible inscribings and quotes from his life in the Western Front. 27th of May, 1916. Sitting on the fire step in warm weather and sunshine, about 10 a.m., with the lark above the usual ebb. Can't remember Thursday night show very clearly. It seems mostly rain and feeling chilled, and the flashes of rifles in the gloom, and O'Brien's shattered limp body propped up and down that infernal bank, face ghastly in the light of the flare, clothes torn, hair matted over the forehead. Trying to fit him up the side of the crater, the soft earth kept giving way under one's feet. I would have given it a lot if he could have been alive, but it was a hopeless case. I shall read another thing over here. 27th of April, 1917. Something in me keeps driving me on. I must go on till I'm killed. That was a few extracts from Siegfried's diaries. And of course, well, poor old Siegfried witnessed a lot in the trenches, and these small glimpses into his life really tell a lot of life in the trenches. And over here, I have the diary of a French soldier. Over here, Louis Barthas. Over here, he writes in his diary, 14th of December, 1914. I saw, heading toward me, 3 dealers of the trenches. I looked at them with horror. They were covered in mud, from the tips of their shoes to the peaks of their kepis, as if they had just waded through a sea of muck. Their hands, their faces, moustaches, eyebrows, hair, all covered with viscid mud. In a few words, they sketched out their sad fate. Every night, you had to attack, patrol, or dig. The machine guns drove you mad. You had to lie in the mud for hours at a time. And of course, daily rains no shelters, badly fed. Such was their sad fate, and such was going to be mine. And of course, old Louis saw a lot on the Western Front fighting the Germans. So boys and girls, a very important thing about history is keeping the record. So I thought to end off the night, we shall play one last game from the Great War. Each of you countries over here will have a chance, 5 minutes to write your own poem about life in World War I. So in your tables, I'll give you a paper and pen. Try write something inspired, something that reminds you of what life was like in the trenches, all right? And then after 5 minutes, you'll each get a turn to show and read your poetry, all right? So let me get the tools, all right? Or pencil, anything. So remember, as the Americans, they fought in the trenches, all right? So you can write about the trenches, all right? And you are the French, all right? Yes, they.
Gareth, what about me? What about me?
The Austro-Hungarians. Here we are, mate.
What did they fight?
They fought in the mountains, all right? So you can write about fighting in the mountains. You fought the Russians, yes?
Wait, was it a cold or hot?
A cold climate, mostly cold, all right? I'll give you 5 minutes to compile your poetry from the Great War, and then we'll have a chance to get to share it with the others, all right? Just yell if you need help, all right? I'll be right over here, mates. All right, only a few minutes left. All right, last sentence, mates. Nearly time to read. So, we have over here Austria-Hungary reading their poetry from the trenches. So,
The mountains.
as soon as the mountains and the trenches, but yes, the mountains. Good, sharp eyes. And as soon as the music starts, you start, right?
The white snow on my face, the cold, freezing wind on the dead bodies. Snow used to be white, but now it's bloodier than an animal hunt. We are not going to live, not where we are. I want to go back home, back to the warmth and love, but no, not in this war. I am now going to die like sheep as the wolf hunts. But even at the death, there is still hope. As the stony mountains take over our life, I wish the war never happened. But now we need to do it. For my country, for my family, the blood will be on my hands.
Give her a round of applause, Austria-Hungary! Well done with your poetry. That was heart-shattering. Right, go have a seat. Keep it for now and then you can give it on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have over here Great Britain with their poetry from the trenches, alright? So, let's hear it up. So you fought, I heard, in the Mesopotamian campaign against the Turks, alright? Let's hear it. That's fine, I'll read it for you. Unfortunately, Britain lost his voice. A piece of shrapnel hit him at, at Mesopotamia when the Ottomans attacked, so he asked if I could read it for him. Oh, the desert, the terrible desert. I see a sand monster. The Turks attacked. Give him a round of applause. That was Britain's poem. That was a poem for the ages. Make no see. Give him a hand. Well done. Next up is the United States. So America, would you like to come and I can help you read it? Yes. Not. I see our poets are very shy, very shy. Don't worry, America, if you don't want to read, it's alright. Oh, you sure you want to read? Alright, then I'll need America's hat, alright? America, I'll read your poem if that's alright. Everybody's saying that's fine then?
Yes.
Alright, let's start now. Sitting in a trench, I feel sad, missing my home, with a big garden, with my family, at a table with food all over. Ah, now I miss my warm home. Ring, ring, ring a rosies, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, they all fall down. That was America's poem, give her a hand. We love your poetry, America, it was mighty fine.
America!
Well done. France is up next. All right, France, come and join me. All right, wait for the music. All right, ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear France's poetry from the trenches. All right, let's go.
Life was hard, but you learned something. Everything, it was amazing. I love it. Thank you.
Give France a wonderful hand. You know, never have I seen sometimes a poetry in such a grim time making me smile like that. Give France another round of applause. Well done, France. Well done. The Ottoman Empire, come on. It's time for the Turkish poetry, all right? Tying your ankle boots, I see over there. It's all right. So, you know the drill. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hear the Ottomans' poetry now. So, when the music starts, go ahead.
1950, the 12th of the 8th. It was filled with doom and sorrow. I didn't think I could see more lives lost until I saw tomorrow. It was boiling hot. I thought I was rot. The desert's heat I couldn't beat, nor could I be beaten. The people I grew closer to seemed to fly up into the sky. It made me want to cry. Down with flea-ridden Frenchies, they can go sit on benches. So can the Brits and Americans. What I really want is to see my family, whom I love so much and long to see. If I get out of here alive, I will say to everyone, live every minute like it's your last. Something is keeping me going. Oh no, I have to go. They're here.
I've never seen some poetry that touches my heart quite like that one over there. Of course, the Turks also witnessed World War I, often forgotten. So, ladies and gentlemen, give the Ottomans one more big round of applause. Well, fortunately, the time has come now. Australia calls and duty calls, and I need to go back to the Western Front. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for coming, and please take care and do not forget the past. Thank you for coming. Ready to charge! All right, lads, let's charge the enemies now. Let's get the hunt. Hoorah! Come on, charge those commies now, those hunts. All right, 3, 2, 1. I can ask that people do not touch things on the table, especially these things here, because these are originals. So just, you know, carefulness is the word, all right? So, this over here is just an extension of the Great War show that I did today, with some items from World War I, right over here. So, first item over here, these two things over here are homemade. So what they are is my homemade Brody helmet. World War I saw the end of caps and the birth of helmets. So of course, this was an enormous change in the history of warfare. So soldiers found that the casualties were too high in the trenches without protection. So by 1915, almost all armies had replaced their hats and field caps with helmets like this. Unfortunately, mine is more of a decoration because I literally made it out of a salad bowl. Did you know that the Germans called the British helmets, when they saw them on the other side of the trenches, Salatschützen? So that means salad bowl. So of course, literally I made it out of a salad bowl. That's what the Germans' nickname for the British helmets was. Oh, all the poems. All right, I shall hang on to these. Thank you, my poets from the trenches. Brilliant. Okay, I shall. Next on my homemade itinerary is my gas mask that I made. This is a 1918 model gas mask used by the Germans. So, come the start of World War I, chemical warfare was not a thing. Yes, there are some instances in history, such as some medieval sieges, where they would throw diseased bodies over the walls to try and create disease in the besieged cities. So yes, chemical warfare was a thing before World War I. However, the gas warfare as we know it only came out in the Great War. The first time in April 1915 was when the Germans first tested out gas on the trenches, and this was very effective. Yes. So however, they had to make sure that the wind was blowing in the right direction, because they literally had canisters of gas that they would open and wait for the wind to blow the right way. If the wind changed directions, well, I'm sure you know what would happen. You run for your life. So to address this, the Allies would create the first crude gas mask, which literally they would take a handkerchief, urinate on it, and hold it at their mouth, because the ammonia in the urine would counteract the chemicals. And as the months and years went by, the first gas masks came out, such as the P mask, which literally looked like a pigeon's head. There were some of the first earliest gas masks. Fast forward to 1918, and gas warfare is all of the trenches. Every soldier is required to carry their gas mask on their person. Gas masks are even designed to have a little string at the back, so they could even wear it on their fronts. The British, of course, had a system where the canister container would be on the front. Oh, how did I make it? Good question. Fake leather, tuna tins, and jam tin over here, and some spare Felton material that I had. So literally, the spider eye protectors are made of tuna tins, and this is how they were made. They were made in this fashion. They were called, it was named after a spider web, because it looks like a spider web. And this was prevent the lenses from smashing with all the being rough in the trenches, so nothing would break the lens. And of course, soldiers carried spare lenses in the gas mask canisters as well. So yes, that's my gas mask that I made. Next up over here, we have two model aeroplanes. I came across these when I visited Ireland. Someone in Ireland really loved my passion for history, so he said, you know what, no better person to have them than me. So I had the opportunity to show you today now. So very special, these two planes. This of course is a German airplane, this is a British airplane. How to tell the difference is, so in World War I, this is also the pioneering days of aviation. The first successful powered flight was back in 1901 with the Wright brothers. That was only 13 years before World War I started. So come World War I, planes are still a very new thing. So of course, you just about had much as a chance in the Air Force as in the infantry, if not even more dangerous and worse chances of surviving. So of course the British formed their Royal Flying Corps, and the difference between the planes and the British planes would paint these symbols on them, the colours of the British flag over here. So that's how to tell. So when planes are flying above your trenches, you'd see the bottom. You could tell, oh, all right, don't shoot that, that's one of our own. And then the minute you see the Iron Cross, that's what the Germans put on their planes. All right, fire, fire, fire. Literally soldiers, because they had no way to counter planes, they would literally use their rifles and shoot them down. And sometimes there are some instances of marksmen hitting planes down with their rifles. However, as the years went on, anti-air defense became more strong and more refined. Come London, where the Germans are trying to do Zeppelin raids on Britain, the British had some very formidable defenses with their air blimps and anti-air guns. So yes, just some planes from the Great War. And of course, a difference between World War I and World War II. World War I, they had single wings. World War I, they were double deckers. Some of them were one deckers, like the Focke-Wulf Eindecker was one of the German planes with only one deck. That only came out later in the war. So yes, if you see a plane with two layers, that goes no later than World War I.
They would throw grenades.
And of course, most planes, well not most, but a lot of planes, depending on the model, would have a co-pilot. And at the beginning of the war, they thought, how do we do the most damage? Literally a man sitting in the back with bombs would just drop them and hope for the best. Sometimes even with like machine guns at the back to try and hit down other planes. So yes, but eventually planes would have detachable systems of dropping payloads, high explosive payloads. So yes. Next on the list is another part of my collection, a German World War I web gear. So this is what soldiers would wear. As you can see on me, officers would wear a brown leather belt and a cross strap over here. This is called the Sam Brown belt, named by an officer called Sam Brown, who in the colonial wars in the 1800s lost his arm. And so he needed a special belt that he could only wear. So he designed the Sam Brown belt named after himself. And it just caught on his fashion that all officers would wear this strap on one shoulder, on the right shoulder, called the Sam Brown. However, your standard soldiers would wear webbing to carry and house all of their ammunition. So the Germans would be full leather, where they would carry their ammo in these pouches. On the buckle, if you look here, another relic of the past. It says over here, Gott mit uns. And in German, that means God with us. And there in the center is the imperial crown. So yes, these are the days of Imperial Germany, when Germany was an empire, and they decided to inscribe Gott mit uns because Germany, yes, had gone through its own unification and national identity, but they still were very rooted on their Christian origins. So they believed that every soldier needed to know that God was with them. So yes, and the imperial crown. Over here, very special over here. These actually go back to the Boer War. These are officers' breeches. Gaiters. Breeches are pants. Gaiters are these little leg wraps made out of leather that an officer would wear on his foot instead of puttees, which I'm wearing. And they would go and give support to prevent stones from getting in their shoes. Only officers would wear them. I could wear them as an Australian officer, but they found that in the trenches, many officers would just wear puttees like their infantry counterparts, because puttees were a bit more effective than gaiters. Although I hear a lot of good things about gaiters though. So yes, an original pair of Boer War era gaiters that would have also been worn in World War I. Nothing has changed since the two wars. Yeah, right over there. Over here is a very interesting, weird little piece of history. Any guesses to what this little thing is? Any guess? None at all.
Canteen?
A canteen. Do you see a spout to drink from?
No, I mean,
Although, not bad.
a bowl, I don't know. No?
So actually this is a collar box. So an officer's collar box. An officer would keep his collars in here. It just shows, you know, just the time. Like, why waste the leather on collar boxes when you could utilize the leather for the war effort? I guess it just shows the beginning of World War I. It was very much a glamorous occasion. So yes, but also I hear instances of them putting a canteen in there too. So not too far off them. Of course, last but not least, last but not least, over here a fake F1 grenade, which the French used. This was also the refining age of grenades. So grenades have been around even since the 1700s. I think even the 1600s, I'll have to double check that. But come the 18th century and the British Grenadiers off the middle of the force. Literally, picture a bomb, that big black round ball with the fuse that you light, those were grenades. And you would have whole divisions of grenadiers who were armed with these, who would lob them at the enemy. Come World War I, grenades have refined a lot because of the need to hurl explosives into trenches. So the grenade was refined into almost its modern day counterpart. It would still go through changes, the Germans using stick grenades, designed to give it some more leverage when you throw. But the modern idea of a grenade came out of World War I. A question over there.
So sorry, is that like, because you said you put the originals more for the back?
Yes,
okay,
over here.
but
Oh yes.
is that plastic or is it just
It's
like
plastic.
fake?
It's real. What's up? Us Aussies are formidable. I'd never throw a grenade at the audience. I'd be a bad person. Last but not least is an original set of binoculars. These actually go to the 1930s. I researched later, and I did remove the carry strap because it was withering away, but I still have it. So in here are the binoculars. However, World War I binoculars were of very much the same design. It's more of like these over here, I think are Ross London makes. So yes, quite incredible to look through something that somebody nearly a century ago looked through. So it's quite incredible. If you like, here we are. Have a look. Which is the right?
I see dark.
Which is the right lens? There.
Still wrong hole, sir.
Oh, there we are. Oh, wow. There's a chair. So yes, feel free to have a look. Just handle it carefully. And feel free to have a look through the binoculars. So yes, soldiers, of course, thanks. Last thing, soldiers in World War I, often the officers would keep a pair of binoculars to scout the horizon. Very important invention. 100 years before, binoculars weren't even around. In Napoleonic times, they used telescopes. So you picture Napoleon using a telescope, that's accurate. If you think of Napoleonic soldiers using binoculars, very accurate. Then it came out in subsequent decades. US Civil War, they also used binoculars. So yes, just a few of my collection, some original items from World War I that I felt like showing today. So yes, that has been the Great War. And of course, next week we go further up in time. So please do join for next week. Great. Yeah. Any questions? Feel free to ask before we end off. Yes.
What's an ACAC gun?
Sorry, what?
ACAC gun.
ACAC gun stands for anti-air gun, AA gun. So yes, AA guns were around. They came out in World War I as a way to counter planes.
Okay.
Only a bit later during World War I. Yeah, that's literally most AA guns would be a stationary, a much larger caliber gun that would sit on the ground, and someone would sit in it and shoot, trying to hit planes from the sky. But even artillery pieces and cannons were very much the same. Sorry, guns, not cannons. Terminology. Yeah, that's what an ACAC gun is. Yes, good question there. All right. Yes, 1914 to 1918. That was the Great War. Not to be confused with World War II, which we will get to later in the show. Cool.
Thank you.
It's a great pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Future.